Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Item C, Ashland Public Library Board. The Board of Education President recommends the reappointment of Stephanie Hahn as trustee to the Ashland Public Library Board for the term of January 1, 2023 to December 31st, 2029. If you will, we'll have a motion for discussion first.
So moved.
Mr. Wells, and I will second. So we'll discuss this real quick. Hope everyone had a chance to review Ms. Hunn's resume. It is Exhibit F. The letter from the public library is Exhibit F, and her resume is attached to that. Certainly a very strong resume for that position, and so I felt very comfortable nominating her or recommending that nomination. So I will, at this time, Mr. Klinger, please call the roll.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Truex?
Yes.
Mrs. Deppert?
No.
Mrs. Mowry?
No.
Mr. Tevan?
No.
So with the failure of that nomination, I'm instructing the superintendent to schedule a special meeting for November 29th. We have some housekeeping details to take care of on the 29th that we couldn't get to tonight. So at that meeting, I will hear nominations from the board for someone else for that appointment. I would expect if you could email me that person's name, their resume needs to be attached to that email, and then I will get it added to the agenda for the 29th. I won't consider anyone without a resume. I think that's the fairest thing to do. And we will hear and we will decide on the 29th who will be appointed to that board. It's been pointed out to me that is our responsibility, so we will take that responsibility seriously, and we will find someone that the board can put on the library board.
5:30, Mr. Truex.
5:30. Thank you.
What day is this?
November 29th, 5:30 p.m.
A week from tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow. So special meeting for that, and then also there'll be a couple housekeeping items we can take care of. So we'll hear that out on the 29th. At this time, we will hear comments or questions from the public.
Hi there, I'm Flory Maricourt, co-president of ACTA, and I have a comment. I was looking over the resume for the person recommended for the library board, and I would love to know why there was a no vote from people. It really would, I think, help out with the community to understand why you guys voted no, so that'd be great. Thank you. I mean, it would be good, behoove to have a reason. I'm assuming you voted no for a reason. So I think it'd be good to know for the community to know why you voted no. Do you think that's reasonable? If I vote no for something, I tell people why. This would be good to know.
I would say that I would encourage any board member who wants to answer, they can, but to avoid another awkward silence, board members are not required to answer direct questions at board meetings. It is a public meeting, but it is not a public forum. I think your question is legitimate, and I think it's better served in an email format to where a board member can give you a detailed email response. And I know that all the board members here do respond to emails that are sent to them. So to avoid an awkward silence, that is a policy. They don't have to respond. They're free to respond, but they're not required to respond.
I understand completely. It's just the silence right after it spoke volumes. But thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you for hearing that out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if we're done, if the public's done, I would like to talk about this
Sure,
as a board member.
Let's give the public a chance.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name's John Schmaker. I'm a class of '88,
92 Ashland University. And I don't live in Ashland now, but I'm visiting for the holidays. And I noticed I wasn't going to be able to make Dr. Doug's, December 12th farewell. I heard he was retiring. I can't believe it, sort of things, making me feel old. So, but I wanted to just bring to the table and just say thank you to Dr. Mara. I have lived around quite a bit. I've moved quite a bit. And where I live now, I can tell you the schools are nowhere close to what we have here in Ashland, Ohio. And I think as you grow older, you learn to appreciate that more and more. And so I look back at the last decade, and two of my children went through because we've kind of moved back and forth a little bit. And I look at the fact that, we built 2 new grade schools. We built a new junior high. We've built the auditorium. We have the new field house. The facilities just look amazing. And so every time I come back, I see more and more. And I think that a lot of credit should go to Dr. Doug. And I just want to say thank you. And this was my opportunity to do that because I wasn't going to be here on the 12th. So didn't mean to interrupt the meeting, for something like that. But I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. I've had a lot of help.
Thank you, John. You're not
No interruption at all.
interrupting.
That's what it's for.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, yes.
Good evening. I'm Diane Nelson, if anybody doesn't know me. And I truly appreciate the work that you're doing. I know it's not easy. But I do think that you need to know that there are a lot of parents out here who are not happy with the books that are in the library. Anyone that supports that, we are not in favor of. Now, the person in question, I believe, does support that. So someone said, I believe you did, sir, why would any of you like to speak to that? That's your personal opinion, and that's fine. That's fine with all of us. But, sir, you need to know that there are a huge majority of people who do not want these books in our libraries. They are inappropriate, they are smutty, they are filthy, and you know what? I should have brought some examples. I have many examples. But they are in with the 5-year-old children. They are, do you want me to tell you what's in the books? Or would you like me to pass on that?
I think we're all aware.
Okay, so now you know why we parents are not in favor of the library board, of anybody on it who supports that. So I think maybe that answers your question. Or maybe I've misspoke. If I have, I'm so totally sorry. But I'm just telling you how we feel at the library, at the fair, the Ashland Fair. We took the books in and we showed them to people. They were horrified at what is in our library. They were horrified. We showed the pictures. We didn't push it in their face. We asked them if they would like to see the books. And they did not know what was in our library. So I'm just telling you from what I have discovered, that's what's going on. So I'm really hoping that you have some other people who have turned in resumes that you can look at. And I don't know if I'm allowed to know that or not. But people, if you do not have any, I think I can help you out with that. So, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Seeing no more comments or questions from the public, we now hear comments and questions from board members.
Yeah, I would echo what Mr. Mario Court said and would like an answer from my 3 board members who voted no in public, not in an email. I think the public deserves that. I think if you don't want to answer that, that's sort of an easy way out. Maybe you agree with Mrs. Nelson, and that's fine. She's entitled to her opinion as well. I would say that I've had some disagreements with folks on this board and in our administration over the last 3.5 years in my term here, and that's fine. We've been able to handle that amicably. This one I can't stand for. This is a civics social studies teacher, a lifelong educator, someone who went to Ashland Theological Seminary for counseling, someone who has served this region as an educator for Catholic Charities, went to Ashland University. I can't even imagine the fact that this person doesn't necessarily have a big R next to them, and that's why some of us think that it's okay, and we're not gonna let a civics teacher, someone who is highly qualified, somebody who is a valued church member in this community, but we're not going to approve this person because we want to put somebody with our own agenda onto this library board. Shame on you. Shame on all of you. At this point, I'm considering resigning from this board, and I'm not trying to grandstand. I'm saying this is a point to me of I'm not sure I can continue to serve this community on this board at this point. So I would love to hear an answer from any of you or all of you as to why you think this is an inappropriate person to put back on the board. Are any of you willing to answer that?
I don't mind speaking tonight, Brandon, and thank you to everyone who's spoken here this evening. When we were elected to all five of us to represent the Board of Education, we represent all walks of life. And over the course of the past year, we've had numerous emails, phone calls, messages, concerns about the publications that are being displayed in our library. I have 6 kids. Mine are older. Working mom. My kids would have gone to the library, either the bookmobile or a library with a babysitter. The fact that I'm just sharing my personal experience. I have a son who's disabled who could easily have access to those books. I've listened to everyone who's reached out to us, and I support at least moving those documents to perhaps a parental consent area of the library. But as I understand it, that hasn't even been, maybe some have been moved, some have not. So I think 7 years is it's statute. It's a very long time for a board to serve. I didn't attend the board meetings. I did receive reports from pastors who had attended and friends who had attended, and it's representative of the community and the requests that were made to us. And it's been 12 months. It's nothing that was taken lightly at all. So I hope that helps explain my viewpoint.
Thank you for answering.
Thank you. Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
And I'm sorry you're upset. Thank you, Brandon.
You know, I'll go ahead here too. You raised 2 things. It's a 2-pronged thing. A 7-year term, which is dictated by the Ohio Revised Code and we have no control over at this point, is a very long term. So to appoint somebody, reappoint someone, you're looking at a 14-year. The third trip would be 21, and I believe there is somebody on the board in that situation, or will be when they're reappointed or when they come up for reappointment, whichever it is. So that's one of the prongs. But the truth is that the response to, I did attend 3 of the board meetings, and I do not advocate for censoring in terms of removing any books from the library, but I absolutely do advocate for having them in age-appropriate manner of some sort. And I happen to be married to an amazing researcher, I think he's in the back of the room, who looked into the publishers of some of the books that were in question that were being brought forward. And many of them actually have the publishers recommend 13 and older for the books. Okay, so what I found myself in a predicament with that I wish the library board would have addressed, but they didn't, you think you know more than the publishers of the books? That caused a lot of concern for me. So we have looked into these books extensively. And, I'm sorry, like you, Gina, I used to take 3 wandering children into the library, and I was not, necessarily on top of everybody every minute. And I know there are plenty of kids in that situation that ride their bikes to the library or whatever. That's really, I think, what the group, the largest part, was asking for if you went board meeting after board meeting after board meeting. And, to not have any one member of the board accept their leadership speak, Zach, we do turn to you to speak for us, but then if we, have additional comments or concerns or we don't agree with you, we speak. So, all of those things have played into the amazing amount of feedback that I've gotten as well. And my responsibility to the community just says that that's how it has to be. I also think the 7-year term is a problem, but that's an Ohio legislature thing. So, I mean,
Well,
we're elected and we're only 4 years.
Anyone we appoint will be for 7 years, though.
Correct, but to reappoint, you're looking at longer than
Well,
7 years.
she came in April of 2021. So
I read that.
She's
So she could serve 8 years.
right, but you said 14 or 21, so
Well,
that's not correct.
when
The
you
other part is, the library board has moved quite a few of these books, and they have done the ones that you're talking about that are 13 and up.
So, I don't believe all of them, but
Which ones?
I'm not sure,
Okay.
Brandon. Are you?
So,
'Cause
well, I mean, you guys are the ones that voted it down, so I would expect you guys to know which ones exactly.
I don't have to defend my vote to you, sir.
Okay, that's fine.
No, you had your
You're-
chance. Sorry.
You-
You
that's fine.
spoke. We're out.
Well, I am incredibly disappointed. I'm disheartened. I think there's a lot of kids out there that we're not thinking of that I'm kind of embarrassed to be part of this. I'm not even sure what else to say. I think this is an embarrassment.
Well, I won't go as far as I don't feel as strongly as Mr. Wells feels, and I respect his opinion. We've been on the board for a long time. We've fallen on different sides of topics, and I do respect his opinion. It's my understanding that some of the books were moved. I don't know if you want to say egregious, but the books that should have never been in the children's section were moved, and that the situation ended amicably. I've heard that from people on both sides. Did the library board handle it perfectly? Probably not, but I can raise my hand and say guilty as charged if I've handled every situation perfectly in my time on the board. I've certainly made my fair share of mistakes, and I thought Ms. Hun was well qualified, and I feel like the experience that she gained in that time would have been beneficial moving forward, but the vote is what it is. So, like I said, on November 29th, we'll move forward with selecting someone that will fill that spot, and we'll work out how we do that. If I get more than one if I get more than one suggestion, I'll maybe put both people on. We can debate it publicly, or if I feel like there's a consensus for one person, I'll put that one person on, but that will be.
So what are our qualifications? What are we looking for from a library board member? That's what I'd like to know, so that people out there will know if they're interested in applying to the library board. What exactly do the three of you guys want?
I mean, that's really all 5 of us.
Well, but 2 of us voted yes on this person,
Sure.
so I'm asking the 3 of
Sure.
you what you're looking for.
Is this appropriate for us to have this discussion now?
I think the public should know what they're...
Never crossed this bridge before, so
It doesn't fit a requirement for executive session.
does not fit requirement for executive session.
Okay.
It's more work session topic typically, but we find ourselves in a bit of uncharted waters. I would say that is what the question you posed is a good question. I think.
But if we don't have, Zach, Mr. Truex, if we don't have standards right now, we don't know exactly what we're looking for, then how are we judging Ms. Hun and her candidacy for this position? Just because she agreed with some of the way that the library board voted ultimately? I mean, there's been things that the 5 of us have not necessarily been all in 100% agreement, but we have come to a consensus and voted 5-0 for a public stance of being positive behind an issue. So have the 3 of you guys gone and talked to Ms. Hun and asked her opinion on each one of these books? Nope. You haven't. I know you haven't. I know Mrs. Hun.
I think so. We'll have to, as they send me the nominations, I'll have to they'll have to think about
Good
your,
luck.
your question.
You may be doing that without me.
Okay. So then finally, if everyone's done, and this has nothing to do with the previous conversation, with the conclusion of the most recent elections, I felt like it was appropriate that I formally announce that I'll be not seeking re-election in 2023. My second term ends in December 2023, and that will be my last year on the Ashland City School Board of Education. I encourage any person who has interviewed for vacancy over years or who feels they can contribute to the Board of Education in a positive manner to get the petition process started now so that you can run for my vacant seat. Additionally, I've taken the time to inform the other members of the Board of Education that I will not accept the nomination to be president or vice president at the organizational meeting in early January. I will serve as president pro tem for that organizational meeting, and at that time, for a new Board of Education president and possibly a new vice president. I look forward to finishing my time on the Board of Education and supporting the new president and vice president exactly as they've supported me, and being a part of at least one more major decision, deciding our new superintendent. And tonight's perfect example, if my time in this position has taught me anything, is we have unseen obstacles in front of us, problems, issues, and decisions that we will not anticipate. In my final months of my elected term, I will approach this job with the same enthusiasm and optimism as I've always had for Ashland City Schools, its employees, and most importantly, its students. I want to thank all the administration and all the board members, present and past, for supporting me and teaching me and helping me along this journey. And I look forward to working with all of you in all of 2023. Thank you.